Welcome to Peak Consult. My name is Mike Picanza and I am the Sales and Marketing Manager for the brand. Today, what we would like to do is take you on a little bit of a journey of discovery into Peak and what makes Peak loudspeakers what we believe to be the best loudspeakers that you can buy in the world today. So to start with, we're going to give you a little bit of a background to the brand and how it started. And then later we'll take you on a journey into the technology that makes our product different from everybody else and what this technology gives you as a listener and what makes our loudspeakers sound completely different to other products. The story started actually about 30 years ago, nearly to the day, where a gentleman, Per Christopherson, a very talented carpenter who had a fascination for building his own loudspeakers from a very early age, from 17 years old, started with making his own cabinets. And he was borrowing drive units and crossover components from other products and creating beautiful cabinets to house these loudspeakers. 1995 is actually when Peak Consult started with its first ever commercial loudspeaker. Craftsmanship, expertise in beautiful wood finishing, and an understanding of how all of this translates into musical excellence. And this is what differentiates Peak over all of our competitors. The technology and innovation that makes Peak stand out over everyone else comes from understanding what a cabinet does, what drive units do, and what crossovers do. A loudspeaker is fundamentally a very simple product. 3 elements will make up a loudspeaker, unlike a CD player, a streamer, an amplifier that are very complex and highly involved. To many, the loudspeaker is the most simple part of the audio chain. But in reality, the loudspeaker is the most complex because its job is to transfer a pure electrical signal into a mechanical one that turns into an audio signal. And this is a real challenge. Amplifiers take voltage, increase the voltage, add current, and that is what drives a loudspeaker. A loudspeaker takes this current and turns it into moving sound and moving air, so it replicates true musical sound to our ears. So the 3 elements that are made, the cabinet, the drive units, and the crossover, actually have a huge influence on the performance of the product. And here at Peak, one of the key philosophies for us is attention to detail on every single level. Because the guiding philosophy is to make absolutely the very best. No compromise. Every single detail is thought through, checked, listened to, and put into our fabulous products. So how does the Peak sound differ from other brands? The most important element is to replicate the musical experience. The musical experience as humans is something that touches you on an emotional level. We try and actually make everything sound as real as possible. So when you hear an orchestra, you believe you're there in the audience and the orchestra is in front of you. If you're listening to a jazz quartet, you want to hear all of the players playing their instruments, but playing together as a band. So the most important aspect of the performance of our loudspeakers is You close your eyes and you can imagine you are in the room with the artists. And in the same room, those artists are playing with all their other musicians playing at the same time. And this is fundamentally the goal that we have with all of our products, for the loudspeakers to disappear. In order to achieve this level of performance, we have to understand the complexities of the materials, the cabinets, the drive units, and the crossovers. One of the amazing things about this company is we have an R&D team with a level of experience that is 150 years of the industry. And they all have their own skill sets, which actually combined makes us one of the most powerful brands today in being able to create what we are. What is important about the cabinet? The cabinet houses the drive units, and the drive units are the items that effectively turn an electrical signal into the air pressure that we hear as sound. So the best cabinets of the world are the ones that are inert. They add no character themselves, and they don't influence the sound coming to our ears. So there's two aspects of the cabinet that's really important: the construction and the shape. So when you actually understand what goes into a Peak cabinet, you really do realize and appreciate the number of hours and the thought process behind to actually eliminate all of the resonances and shaping the cabinet so the sound hits your ears in perfect timing. So when you hear a violin, it sounds exactly like a violin. When you hear a Steinway piano, it sounds exactly like a Steinway piano playing in front of you. And this takes a lot of skill and experience. Our cabinets are made using natural materials. We start with 3 layers of 12mm of HDF. These are 3 panels that are glued together. And what's important is the glue we use is a hybrid glue. It's a very special glue developed by ourselves that gives a huge amount of strength to these panels, but actually adds a level of flexibility, tiny amount of flexibility. Because what happens is when these panels move, the glue in between the resonances turns that movement into heat. So the energy stored in the cabinet is actually converted into heat. We call this dynamic damping. And this principle is used throughout our cabinets. So the inner carcass starts with these 3 layers. Then we add the outer skin, and the outer skin is normally a minimum of 14mm of a solid hardwood. So you actually have a combined thickness on these cabinets of 50mm, all separated with a hybrid glue, which makes that panel incredibly dense, incredibly inert, and incredibly strong. On top of this, we mount the crossovers in a very unique manner. The crossovers are crimped to each other. We don't use a PCB because printed circuit boards vibrate and add their own character to the sound. Crossovers have to be inert. They have to transfer the signal to the drive units, but they suffer from heat and vibration. And this is something that you create a lot of inside a loudspeaker. So we handle this by mounting the crossover components to each other on a separate board, separating the low frequencies, the mid frequencies, and the high frequencies on separate boards. These go into their own chamber. In this chamber, we actually fill it completely with sand. And the sand we use is a very specific grade of sand. And the reason is because this sand takes heat away from the components and it reduces vibration. One of the problems that you have when playing a loudspeaker quite loud is the resistors used in the crossover will get hot, and this will have an adverse effect on the bass performance. So if you want the bass performance to sound very clean, very tight, very dynamic, you really want to reduce the heat coming out of those resistors. So by putting these resistors on their own dedicated boards and mounting them in sand, we take away a lot of the heat and a lot of the vibration from the crossovers. So it's this level of attention to detail that goes into these products that actually makes the end result quite spectacular. The aesthetics of the Peak loudspeaker is very important. These products have to live in our homes and they have to look absolutely stunning. So the amount of care and attention that goes into these finishes is quite remarkable. It takes 7 days just to oil and stain the outer solid hardwood of a Peak product, whether that's the American walnut or the African Venge. 7 days just for that single process to happen. But it creates a product that when you put your hand and you touch and feel, you know you're dealing with a luxurious product. This is of completely another level. But appreciating the time and care that the craftsmen here at Peak put into making these cabinets really takes hopefully this video for you to appreciate what we do and why we do it. The whole approach to building a Peak loudspeaker takes a lot of time, which also means it takes a lot of money, and the components we use are not cheap. They are used for a very specific purpose. The crossover components are chosen not because of their cost, they're chosen because of their sound. So we have a mixture of some products that are used that are very expensive, but they sound incredible, and some products that actually sound better than the more expensive products. The driving force is always the end result, and this is the R&D team totally focused on delivering a sonic performance. That is the absolute fundamental goal for every single product we make, is the end result. We take this approach at Peak because we truly believe in everything we do. One of the things that actually makes us stand out is having an open mind to try different materials, an open mind to try different techniques. We're constantly pushing the boundaries of loudspeaker design. We're constantly experimenting. We're looking always for that last 1% of performance. And this is the driving force behind the team to actually make products that are truly exceptional. One of the benefits of having products made by artisans, custom made for every customer, is there is an element of customization. So if you wanted a different finish, if you wanted a different color, talk to us. It is something that we can have a conversation with you about, and we are in a position to be able to offer this as potentially a solution for you. If you want something a little bit special, come and talk to us. We are open for that discussion. On our website, there is no question you will see an increasing number of reviews and accolades for this brand. We have reviews all over the world, from the US, Europe, Asia, awards from Japan. What is incredible is all of these products are getting accolades and recognition from all markets. This takes quite a special product to appeal to so many different markets. And it actually is testament to the sonic performance of a Peak loudspeaker that we can appeal to so many different markets around the world because we focus entirely on the music delivery. Why should you choose a Peak loudspeaker? We believe the biggest reason is because these will deliver an emotional connection with the music that you have never experienced before. We also believe that these loudspeakers will probably be the very last loudspeakers you will need to buy. Once you hear what these are capable of doing in your system, in your living room, and the way they will connect you to the artists, you will not need to look for anything else. You can then focus entirely on building your music collection and enjoying fabulous performance day in, day out.